Are you ready, my friends?
Hello everybody, this is Kerim from Septicflesh. We are right now in Moscow in Russia. You're watching Drum Channel Russia. Go subscribe to the channel and we're gonna have some really nice talk.
Well, first of all, I'm very pleased that you are here today.
Thank you.
Have you here in Moscow with the Septicflesh.
Yeah.
And you're known as a metal drummer in the metal world and drumming world. So I would like to ask you first from the start about the holy war between metal and non-metal drummers.
Oh.
Yeah, and I want to concretize it. There are a lot of drummers who think that metal drummers don't play music, they play on exercises, and they think that it's very easy to play metal. But when I ask them, I talk to a lot of drummers, when I ask them to play something metal, they say, well, man, I don't have such skill, I don't have such technique, and so on. So, as defense of all metal drummers, what can you say about it?
Honestly, for me, I have friends which are drummers in all kind of genres, jazz and whatnot, and like really soft music. And from my point of view, I never really had this war thing going on. It was more that I appreciated their craft and they appreciated my craft. It's right that like speed, for example, can be trained. It does have like this attitude of an exercise almost, So for some people like speed, you just sit down, play 2 hours all the time, single strokes, and you get fast. But if you want to play a real groove, you have to play jazz and whatnot. I think it's way much too narrow-minded, because if you think of jazz drummers, they have speed like crazy. Not maybe with their feet, but with their hands. And it really depends on what music you make. I think both sides are great. I really, as I said, appreciate the dynamic, drumming, which is very simple sometimes and like really focused. But also I like when it goes really quick and you have the double bass drumming. And honestly, it's not a competition. I think we should understand, look, it's the same with sports. Will you tell, I don't know, like a swimmer that he has to now go run like a 100-meter sprint as fast as he can? Of course, it will be different, how to say. Or like even a guy that runs marathon, let's do like this, a guy that runs a marathon and a sprinter, Both are runners, but both are differently designed, for their purpose. So that's the same with the drumming, Metal drumming is very complicated. It's like very demanding for the body, more than, let's say, jazz drumming. And for jazz drumming, you have to have really good coordination, and it also takes a lot of years of practice. It's just, as I said.
But what is your approach to dynamics? As they say, metal is lacking the dynamics.
I think nowadays, as there's a lot of this like chant bands and kind of groovy bands, there's quite some dynamic happening, but of course in metal it's a little bit cheated, because when you hear productions, you hear the ghost notes being the same loud as, they do sound different, but they're the same loud as a rim shot. In real life,
no difference.
The difference is in the tone,
not a big difference,
but not in the volume. And in real life, when a drummer plays a ghost note, it's also more quiet. Metal is just straight to the wall, everything has to be loud, and this is the beauty about it. With kicks, I think dynamics, it's really difficult. Depends on what kind of metal you play. If you go more into like the new metal, groovy, slower stuff, you definitely can do that you have a microphone. But if you want to play extreme, you need triggers, and then of course there is no dynamics on the kicks.
Do you use triggers?
Yes, I use triggers live. In the studio is something else. Usually I never had triggers in the studio. For some reason, we never do that. Of course, sometimes we throw a sample afterwards on the sound, like everybody does that. Even pop productions. I wouldn't have thought about how many processed drums are in pop music. Like it's sometimes completely replaced and put samples on there, you know. So they do the same. They just always say like, no, it's real. No, it's the same fake. So dynamics, I think, are cool, and I like to see that. And there are metal drummers in.
How do you use dynamics?
Dynamics, for example, with Septicflesh, we have a lot of those tribal tone parts, and especially live, we like to build up the tension. So I might start it more quiet, so the volume is my dynamic, and I go with Seth, with our vocalist, and the audience, which is build up, you know, get louder and louder until the beat comes back. So this is one version for me of kind of dynamics. And I do also throw some ghost notes here and there inside. We do have also some snare parts which have to be played very quiet, which is really difficult because I play with 2 B sticks, so they're very heavy, and then it's like, okay, play very, very sensitive. And we do have dynamics, but it's more focused on the hands.
So metal is not all the way accented hits, yeah?
No. But again, there's the live situation, and there is the studio situation. Yeah. The most important is that you're consistent, and that you hit always in the same spot with the same volume. Then you make the live easier for every sound guy. So this is really important for metal and non-metal. So I've learned over the years that you have to make sure that you know how to hit the drums. It doesn't have to be necessarily the loudest you can, because sometimes you might choke the drum when you just hit too hard. It's the right balance. You have to find the right spot on the snare or the right spot on the toms, how much force is coming from the shoulder. This comes with time, you know, and you have to really listen to the drums.
How do you control your hits, your hands, your feet while you're on stage and when you're in the studio? Is it different while you playing on the stage or in the studio? Maybe you're more focused in the studio, yeah, and maybe you hitting hard and don't thinking about control at the stage. How's it?
It's definitely 2 different worlds. The cool thing is with the studio, you can. First of all, there's not such a visual aspect. You know, it's not important. Nobody really watches you except if you have cameras and you record a playthrough at the same time. But in the studio, I really focus on the sound, all of the sound, you know. And in the studio, we can repeat things. There's not this one chance. Like on the live show, you have this one chance and you miss the drum fill, or, you know, you lose a stick. That's what it is. Just go with the flow. So, and definitely at the live shows, I'm in a different mood. You know, it's way more like, how to say, like a fighter. You know, I would say like that. And it's not that I'm aggressive, but I really can feel that my brain is way more focused.
You fight drums?
I don't fight them. I play with them. For me, it's more like a dance. You know, you can be, or like a fight, maybe like karate or taekwondo or something like this, where it's like really fast, smooth movements. So you have to be really controlled, and you have to be loose to play fast and loud. This is the thing.
Do you use a Moller technique?
I do use a Moller technique.
Rebound?
Yeah, it's a mix, you know. But as I play every day on different drums, and every day it feels different, and the drum riser makes a difference, you have to adjust really on the situation. That's why it's most important to be flexible.
Well, we are a drum channel, so we have drum questions.
Of course, let's
but
go with that.
Very brief. Our subscribers tell us that we always speak about not drums, but about success, about touring, and so on.
Okay.
And this is the first episode where we have
full
to ask
full nerd drumming questions.
Yeah.
No
what is your grip and why?
You know, there's
Briefly.
the French and German grip. You know what? I think one friend of mine called me, because I'm not that good with what kind of grip I have, but my friend said it's probably American, so it's like a mixture. The thumb is not all the way
French
up.
and German.
Yes, this is my main grip.
And you use it all the way.
Yeah. all the time.
And in the fast tempos and in the slow tempos?
In fast tempos, I do sometimes have like a rotation of the wrist, and of course I use also some fingers. But
it's the French one?
How to say? It's like just a little bit of a twist, just use different muscles.
Do you use fingers?
A bit. It's a mixture of wrist and fingers.
On the right?
On the right, it's more Möller technique.
Is it difference between ride or hi-hat technique when you play fast? When you move your hands?
Yeah, when I have to play on the hi-hat, I have less rebound, so I have to play more out of the wrist. So
up down?
Yeah, I have to do the Möller technique probably more, harder in order
Twos or threes?
No, it's depends on the riff. Sometimes the twos is better because it's more pushing, and sometimes
twos is on 4/4 and threes on 3/4. Yeah.
No, not necessarily. But if we have like a triplet fill or like a riff, then it's sometimes easier. I always accent with the guitar part. So I do sometimes accent during blast beat the bell, and if we know 3 accents or like every third one or every second one, it really depends. On the riff. I can do both. It's not necessary.
Okay. What is your stick size and why?
It's a 2B, kinda. It's a bit bigger actually than a 2B. I played a ProMac 419, it's called. So the thing is, it is the same diameter as a 2B, but it's longer.
Why do you like heavy?
Because
sticks?
I have the feeling that I personally don't have to generate so much power as the stick has more weight. So when I hit the drum, there's more mass, so it does sound louder without me pushing too much. I started with like 7A, then 5A, then 5B, then 2B. It just got bigger and bigger, and I had the feeling that I like the rebound. It's more rebound, and it's quite common that metal drummers play at least 5B, and some really fast ones play 2B. So
it's a little bit longer.
It's a bit longer too, for extra reach, and it just feels nicer that because I do slide back quite a bit when I have to play loud, and so that I have enough stick length still. It just feels more comfortable.
Yeah, yesterday I've seen the video of Nick Barker. He's got very short one, like pencils. Very fast.
Some prefer to like play really like 5A. Ken from my board that he plays 5A. That's for me a toothpick. I would not be able to play with this because it's too small.
What is your pedal adjustments settings?
Pedal adjustments are, I play Charge Kopyto, the Polish pedal.
I know it.
And right now it's really difficult to find a setup which works for both worlds. We talk about the groovy mid-tempo stuff and faster stuff, because most drummers are somehow in the fast area, which have a very high spring tension, and they don't go for the impact that much. It's just for speed. And then you have those drummers that are more in the mid-tempo and slow, and they will probably have less spring tension and try to hit harder.
And your tension is
My
tight.
tension is medium to tight on the spring. It's not too tight, because if it's too tight, I have the feeling at slower tempos, the spring will fight against me, and I have to push harder, and I will lose more energy. So I have to be really in the middle. But definitely, and also the beater angle is, I think 45 degrees, something like that. It's quite far back. So it's not very close, like some drummers have that go really quick. But to be honest, I don't go as fast as, Ken from a board.
What is your maximum speed?
It always depends on
BPM.
It always depends on how long you want to play a stuff. We do have some
Your record.
I don't have a record. I've never measured that, but we have some parts which are 240, but it's quite short accents.
240, yeah.
So, but it's short accents. So this is not a problem. If you tell me to play 1 minute 240, I probably will not be able to do that. So there are other drummers that do that.
Yeah, great. What do you think about during your playing? Do you control your limbs? Do you think about sounding? What do you think about? What's in your head?
I try to be at the show and not somewhere else. You
don't control your limbs. You're just.
I do.
The energy.
No. I try to always find how to say, like, for example, we play and I noticed that the sound is really nice. I try to focus on the sound and like enjoy that. not today the sound is really nice, and that gives me the motivation.
The sound of yours or your musicians
in
around?
general, the whole thing, I feel the energy, we play tight.
Overall sound,
yes.
yeah?
Sometimes the room is weird, or when you play open air, there's no reflection from the sound, and then you start to hit harder because there's no sound coming back. So you think like you play like Mickey Mouse, right? But in reality, you play louder than usually. At those
But
shows,
you know this trick and you don't
I
play
know,
loud, yeah?
and that's why I try to control my power. We play like 1 hour, 20 minutes or 90 minutes sometimes, and you cannot push as much as you would play like for 40 minutes. You have to really control your power. So this is what I do, and I just try to be in the moment, just see what's going on the stage. I I always have to observe what the other guys are doing, because sometimes there are problems. You somehow the captain of the ship. Usually they say the vocalist is the frontman. That's true. But I am the one who counts the songs in. I'm the one who pushes the sample, and if there's some technical problem, I cannot just go, and play the next song.
Do you count while you play? 1, 2, 3, 4?
No.
Or maybe when you're making your exercises at home?
No, actually not. What I have done for Septicflesh recently is I recorded some countings. So I hear it in the ear, and this is for the reason, for example, when I'm really tired and exhausted and I didn't have much sleep, my brain feels slower, and I sometimes have a blackout and I'm like where I am, and then it's like
click tells you what to do.
The click it's like I know when I count 1, 2, 3, 4, I know that there is the change of the beat. I don't say which beat, but I know that okay, now is the next part, and it's a safety thing. It's it feels more comfortable. It's because you can rely on that, but usually only when it's really difficult parts and I need to count it. I used to have that with some session jobs, which were like progressive stuff. So I needed to count some parts, but usually I don't do that.
Your sitting height,
Yeah.
and the height of drums mounting.
I have changed it over the years quite a bit, and but recently I figured out it's for me the best if I sit a little bit over 90 degrees. 90 degrees would be not enough, but just a little bit more. If I sit too high, I start to... It's not the same. I lose a little bit control, so I prefer rather to sit a bit lower than some metal drummers which are really sitting high.
And the distance from your snare drum?
That's the thing. So I sit quite low, but I sit further away. So somehow the angle is not 90 degrees because I sit further back. It does like that. So sometimes people ask me why you sit so far away, but with these long pedals,
snare drum is there.
Yeah, it's in the front and it's not here in my stomach. I don't limit myself. But because I do sit lower and I'm small, it's sometimes difficult with bigger toms. They're up here. So I try to mount it quite low. Just to
and angle them?
A bit.
A bit.
It's not flat, obviously, but I don't go full like 80s, No.
That's great. What is your foot technique? Heel up, heel down, swivel, ankle?
Yeah, swivel.
Swivel all the way up?
I do swivel at a certain speed. Starts around 170, 180 beats per minute.
How long has it taken for you to internalize it?
It started on its own with my right foot. I just kind of tried to figure out a way how to be relaxed and kind of use different muscles when I have to play longer parts at quite fast tempo. And I actually never heard of the swivel technique before. I thought I created a new technique, but it was not true. There were other drummers who had the same idea. So I started with the right foot. It took me a couple of years. And then I got the rhythm and it made sense for me. So I tried to copy it on the left foot. Yeah. And
you make it both.
Yes, feet. But the difficulty is that...
Synchronized.
You have to, because one is always in first, you know, it's never at the same time.
I've tried it.
This is the trickiest part, the coordination.
And at the same time, you have to make straight hits, not swivel your hands. Yeah.
No, the hand's not. The swivel is actually underneath the knee happening.
And your mind thinks that you have to swivel everything.
At a certain point, like for me, I cannot turn it off anymore. And sometimes I think I'm not swiveling, but I actually do. When I see then some video
Just
footage.
a little bit, yeah?
Yeah. When I see some footage, I'm like, what's going on down there? But I don't think about it. It's a natural thing.
They said when you use swivel technique, you just use more muscles.
Yeah, you do.
And right muscles rest when left muscle work.
That was the idea.
Yeah.
Plus, you can generate, because of the swing motion, you can generate more power. The tricky part is to learn it with both.
How much time have you spent to learn it?
Took me a couple of years.
Years.
So at the beginning, I started first with the right. The left foot at double bass was going straight. And then I tried to bring the left one in a little bit. And that for sure took me 2 years, if not more. Some drummers are faster. But for me, it was a natural technique.
But you raise your heel up or
it's quite flat.
flat, yeah?
It's quite
Because
flat.
a lot of drummers heel all the way
all
up
the way. No.
and swivel very, very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like putting out the cigarette, the same move, you know. On the ball of the foot, you that's where
Like
the movement
dancing.
happens. Yeah. But I'm kind of flat on the pedal. I raised it a little bit the heel. It's not heel down, but it's a little bit, but not such extreme all the way.
Well, first time I've seen Gene Howland video when he explained how he makes it.
Yeah, but for me, the really the master of swivel technique is George Colliers. He was he is from, like, people wrote to me when I started to put my first YouTube videos. He was like, you play the swivel technique like George Colliers, and I'm like, what is the swivel technique? Who is George Colliers? Because, you know, I was just playing for myself, and I thought like, okay, it's my technique, but of course someone else came up with this idea.
Now everybody knows George Colliers.
Everybody knows George Colliers, of course, a legend.
Well, okay. Next question. What drum videos have you watched that helped you on your way? Drummers,
Yeah,
influences, but particular drum videos.
it was for
Educational.
You know, back in the days when I started to play drums, there was not really YouTube, but I still tried to, like, for example, Joey Jordison from Slipknot was a big influence for me because his stuff was extreme, but it was not too extreme. It was understandable. So for a young drummer, it's fast, it's powerful. He had this visual aspect, and I remember watching like the Sasterpiece DVDs and music videos.
I have the question about it.
Yeah, so, you know, I watched this, and that really helped me. And later on, of course, YouTube came up, and you could really search for drum videos, and it was really impressive to see how certain drummers are playing. Now, for me, it's fascinating to see like Mario from Gojira or Eloy Casagrande from Sepultura. This guy is like an alien. How he
Beast.
He plays with dynamic, but everything's just much louder, and it's
Brazilian roots.
Yeah, but there's no one ever who plays that loud. Yeah, he does have the roots for sure. Like, you cannot compete with. I don't want to compete, and it's a wrong word. It's not a challenge.
You know, he said to me personally when we were done the episode of him that it's only for the show when he's hitting so hard, but it's not so hard. It's only from the side looking like it's hard. Yeah.
No, it's his style. Like, for him,
Yeah.
he told me once it's hard for him to play quiet. Because he's so used to play loud that if
So much energy.
Yeah, if you would tell him like play quiet, he would probably say like, I cannot, you know, I don't get the speed, or it's not feeling comfortable. But yeah, so to come back to the question, it was for sure Joey Jordison a lot that I watched. Later on, of course, I was watching a little bit of Nick Barker and Daniel Erlandsson also from Arch Enemy. I remember all the DVDs I had back in the days. And so you just check out how they are playing, you know. How hard they hit, how high they sit, how is their foot technique, and you try it out on your own.
Not obsolete educational schools like Jim Chapin and so on.
No.
Only metal drummers.
Yeah, because I'm self-taught. I never went to drumming school, and I figured if I learn it myself, I can do it faster. And so yeah, I learned from metal drummers.
How long has it passed while you have understood that you have to be relaxed? from the start?
Quite early, because I mean, I was in a sports school for 8 years, and so I do have already a good coordination and a certain understanding of movements. And also I did some taekwondo for some years, and there you train quite a lot of this being focused but also relaxed. And I realized really quick that in order to succeed certain speeds or like progress, you have to find a way to be relaxed while still push your speed.
Yeah.
Because you will limit
Paradox.
yourself. Yeah, it's weird because you think like, I want to play aggressive music, I have to push. Yes, you have to, but you have to trick yourself. You have to be still loose to not hurt yourself.
But it's all based on the Miller technique. Well, while you have to just raise your hand up, yeah.
Yeah, one of it, but also when you there are drummers that play just with the fingers and they have a lot of power, but they also have to be relaxed. Otherwise, you block every muscle inside.
The more speed, the more relaxed.
Yeah. And at some shows I have to push harder because I'm just tired or it's hot. And I know that if I will be too relaxed, I will not be able to have the speed. But in general, it's always the most important to try to be really calm and focused, to be loose. Yeah.
What about breathing? When you speed it up, do you control your breathing?
Not, I don't think about it. No. It happens automatically.
Because a lot of drummers tell about their breathing. Well, they breathe in between hits and on the hits.
No, I don't do that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have time to think about that.
How do you listen? How often do you listen to your musicians around and not to yourself alone?
I actually never listen to them on live shows. It has a reason. Not because I don't like them. No, it's not like this. But with Septicflesh, for example, it's not a band that's gonna start a jam session. And I figured there's a more practical way for me for my headphone setup. We play with sample and click. Every day has to be the same. The song has to be the same. So I have a pre-recorded rhythm guitar from one of the guitar players, and I mix it my own, and I have one overhead for my drums and the trigger. So I amplify my drums, the click, and the guitar
in
my headphone. And I don't need a monitor, I can just play, and the rest has to follow me anyways. If I would play in like a 70s rock band that requires, an interaction with each other, that would not work. But
and do you play all songs with playback?
We have all songs
click
with
track.
Yes.
And you don't have to listen to everybody.
I don't have to listen to anyone.
Yeah.
And it was quite often that there is some guitar problems or whatnot. And I prefer to just focus and play on my own. Plus, I have always the same sound. You understand?
Yeah.
It's just more convenient. I'm independent and I just play.
But do they listen to you?
Some of them actually don't. Like Christos doesn't even have a kick drum in the monitor. He just can play with his guitar and his orchestra. Well, they will hear me. I'm behind them. Sometimes I'm way too loud. But it's not so common that all of them have kick drum in the front monitors. Only one guy and sometimes our vocalist on big stages where they don't hear me that well.
So if you play different songs, you don't even notice about it.
Well, I do hear from my overhead. I do hear the ambient, and I do hear what's going on. Yeah, no, I would notice immediately.
Bit, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
You hear it. Okay. What is your method of learning internalizing of drum parts? There are two methods, like slowing down, and the second one is to play in tempo and then incorporate in your second limb, third limb, and so on. What is your?
The second one. I take a song.
Right away in the tempo, yeah?
Yeah. This slowing down never really worked for me that much. Because you do use a different technique when you play slower. For me, it was better if, let's say we have a complex part, I will take this part and loop it constantly, and then I will try to dissect it. Let's see, where are the accents of the snare? What is the most important aspect of this beat? Is it like the China goes in a weird accent and this is really the driving force of this beat? Or is it the kick drum pattern and I would maybe learn this and then bring in another one and another one, limb, like, and then play all together?
So if you have the complicated parts of, for instance, of your feet, you start in playing your feet and then over
I try to put the snare,
one hand,
or like
hand,
throw in
third hand,
yeah,
and so on.
Exactly, fifth leg.
Yeah, okay. Drum gear. Why have you chosen this drum gear in short? Manual and so on.
Manual cymbals, they're from Germany. It's very close to
Because
Austria.
it's your country, yeah?
Almost. Like, I'm from Austria, but they're from Germany, but it's very close. We speak the same language. It's a big
Why
company.
not Paiste?
To be honest, I never really liked the sound of Paiste cymbals. That's the honest truth.
Maybe one of your heroes played manual. Who is it?
No, actually not.
It's your choice.
It's my choice, and that was the first company when I started to be a professional drummer that supported me, and they really support me ever since. And it's not only their cymbals, it's the whole philosophy behind them, and they're really easygoing, and their gear is great, but there's also behind the fact that they are pushing you as a drummer and that they respect you, and you're not somebody who's hidden in the corner. No.
What about drums?
Drums, I play Tama drums since 2014, and I was never really a Tama fan at the beginning, and I don't know why. And then somehow I got into it, and everybody started to play Tama from my friends, and I just tried it out and was like, actually, really makes sense. And at that time, or actually still, Tama is distributed by Meinl in Germany, and so it makes sense that it all comes from the same family.
The same company?
Yeah, and so far I'm really in love with the drums because for the money they cost, it really has this very specific sound, and it's just great.
It's metal.
It's metal, but it's just, I like that Tama it has been there for like in the 80s, it came back like a lot. Before it was always Ludwig drums, everybody played Ludwig.
It's just convenient for you to use this one company, yeah?
Yes, so Tama, I really like what they're doing with their hardware, with their drums.
Frankly speaking, all modern drums are the same.
Yeah, they are.
Top level signature series, yeah?
Of course, that's what I mean. Like, it's hard to say like this one is better than that. No, it's just I prefer certain things, or it's their mentality, or it's their support. You have good drums with Pearl, you have good drums with Yamaha. You can have every high class drum kit will sound good.
The point is what is convenient for you.
Yes, and Tama, I like the sound, I like everything about it, and it just works very well for me. And yeah, Charge the Copito pedals, undestroyable pedals, and I've played them for
It was my
years.
question. Why does the drummer have to choose a modern pedal?
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because they say that everything that is modern is better.
No.
But maybe not.
No. I have friend James from Vader. He plays Iron Cobra chain pedals. It's
Speed Cobra or
the
previous one?
The classic Iron Cobra's Power Glider.
900.
Yeah, the double chain. That's what also the pedal I started to play with, and I still think it's a great pedal. If I probably wouldn't play Charge the Copito, I would also go with this pedal. Sometimes people think that the direct drive is important to play fast. It does have an advantage, but it also has a disadvantage because at slower stuff the pedal pushes more back. Both works. James is a great example, or there's another James. He's James Payne is his name. He's from Italy. He plays super fast stuff on chain pedals, on Iron Cobras. So what I like about Charge Copito is more that it's so solid. It's almost too heavy and almost too solid for touring, but
the platform, you mean?
Everything. It's just these huge aluminum plates. Nothing is wobbling. I made so many hits with this pedal. I travel all around the world with that, and I know that this will not be damaged. It fell down and has scratches, but it's just so solid. It's like a tank.
It's direct drive, yeah?
It's a direct drive, correct. But all the joints, everything is stable, and this is what I like. It has to be. You have to rely on that gear, and everything gets destroyed when you're on tour usually. But these things, no.
Okay, how do you keep yourself motivated? You're on tour all the way, you want to sleep, and how do you keep it?
That's the passion, you know. If you have the passion, you do a lot of stuff which others wouldn't do.
If they don't pay you, you just proceed to do it.
There's a lot of things that you have to do without getting paid. Like, if I would calculate for my working time how much is my payment, probably I should go cry. But this is not how it works, you know. I see the advantage, and the payment is the fact that I can do the job that I love. I see the world, I travel, and when I come home after some, you know, tours and ask my friends what happened at home, they say like nothing. We just woke up Monday till Friday, you know, always is the same. I don't have that. And so I try to, you know, get the nice moments. Let's say we have a good show. I just remember that for later on. For example, when we have not much sleep and we play in a shitty venue and it just doesn't feel right, then I remember, hey, remember the good times and remember that it was amazing just 2 days ago. It's going to be great later on. And it just feels like, even though it's tiring, I feel so much energy coming back. I feel like I have to do that, you know. I love to do that.
How not to quarrel with your bandmates? Because it's a team, it's like a family, and you should be a professional, you should be polite and so on. But when you're on tour on so many days, your head goes mad and so on. Yeah, how to cope with all these obstacles on your way?
I try to be busy. Like when I wake up, I go in the venue and I just work all the time. I don't have a drum tech, so I have to set up my drums. I have to do all the sound check after the show. I break it down. I do have interviews. Sometimes I give drum lessons. You probably won't see me sitting in the backstage room. So I'm just busy.
We don't talk to each other so much.
No, we do talk, but we all respect the privacy, you know. With Septicflesh, how to say, they're Greeks and they like to have discussions very loudly.
They talk Greek language and you don't understand them.
Yeah, I don't understand. But that's actually also a good thing, because sometimes it is like this privacy. I don't have to listen to them. I know they are loud and have discussions about some stupid stuff, but it doesn't bother me.
And do they speak English?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in their Greek conversation. Sometimes when they argue about stupid things, I don't care anyways, you know. So they can
and
speak
they
Greek.
all know George Koles, yeah?
Of course, they're
Because
friends.
he's Greek
yes, he's
well.
Greek and brought in Christ, yeah.
Too many talk about George today. Well, very interesting question about behemoth bands that you had chance to play with. And as I think, if a drummer played with behemoth, he has no... He doesn't have to be auditioned for any other band. How do you think about it?
No, every band is different. And
what are those guys?
You know, it was like those kind of things that they just called you up because it was kind of like...
It was something in between in the day, immediately you got the call?
No, I got the email from Orion, from the bass player. He said like, please give me your number. I have something to talk to with you. And I kind of felt like, okay, there must be something weird.
And they didn't know you just through videos?
No, I have done a tour with Decapitated and Behemoth, 2010. And then 2013, when this thing happened, they wanted first Darai, who plays with Dimmu Borgir, but he was busy. So then they figured out, hey, what about the Austrian guy? And that's because they remembered me from this tour back in the days. And they called me and was like, yeah, you know, we have this situation. We need a drummer for in the next 10 days. Like, we have the first show. Can you do it? It's like 14 songs, blah, blah, blah. So it was really difficult to adjust and learn the stuff.
Did you have any rehearsals?
We had 2 days of rehearsals, or 3 hours
to
of
the
hours.
tour.
And then straight to festivals, not tours. They didn't want to play tours at first. We just had a couple of festivals. The first 2 shows were quite rough. You know, I was not yet where I wanted to be. It was just not enough time. But I came home and I kept practicing, and then from the third show it felt better. And then I went also to Asia with them, so I did the Asian tour because they saw that it works well. And then I did the Polish tour as well because they felt like, okay, it's a stable lineup, we can do that with this guy. So
how did you feel like? Was it easy for you to play with them, or
no? It was
very concentrated.
Yeah, it
focused?
was. No, I pushed way too much. Like I actually had health issues afterwards. Like my leg got numb because I overtrained. And
after every show?
No, at the first two, because I had so short time, and I'm the guy that has to repeat and repeat. I have to play it.
Yeah.
And so this is very extreme stuff which you cannot play that many hours, but I forced it, and that's a good example of that you have to be more careful and listen to your body. But I would like literally wake up, go in the room, play 3 hours, go back, eat, take a nap, go another 3 hours, and this for like 10 days straight. And I also was not used to his drumming style because it was quite old school and fast things.
Very fast.
Yeah. We didn't play the super fast songs. The set list was...
You have chosen, yeah?
The set list, yeah, they showed me was... no, they told me what to play. But that's when they started already to not play so fast stuff anymore. Like back in the days, it was ridiculous. That's probably... I wouldn't be able to do it. But I saw the songs and I was like, okay, that's possible. Still, I needed time to adjust. And it was a huge challenge. It was these moments, the same when I started with Decapitated. Those are the moments when you have to push and jump over your own fears in a way. Like you have to do that because there might be not another chance like this.
They had some psychological talking with you
No.
before the show?
No, it's not.
Just play and that's it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Why haven't they chosen you as a new Slipknot member? As your video was astonishing.
I don't know.
Why?
I have no idea.
Did you have any contact with them? No? But they have seen it, of course.
Maybe. Yeah, I think they have. But it was, now looking back...
Did you feel upset about it?
No.
No.
Because it is a win-win situation. The whole thing was like that. I just finished with Behemoth, yeah? I had like no band. And then this news got announced that Joey is not playing anymore. And then I had this weird... There was no audition, nothing. And my friend was like, yeah, why you don't... Or I had this idea. So now Behemoth asked me, why the hell shall I not be able to maybe go even bigger? Maybe, who knows? I have nothing to lose. So a friend of mine, he booked some studio time and he said, you take my hours in the studio, learn some songs, make some videos, upload it. That's
How long
what I did.
have you learned these songs?
A week. Just a week, and then we went to the studio. And then I just put it online and it blew up for some reason. And then the old media started to go on it and I was like, what's going on? And people loved it, but it got spread everywhere. And there was never a real audition, but then other drummers started to upload and then this hype was like, there might be an audition. My thing is that I think whenever they announced that he was out, they must have had already another drummer. Mm-hmm. Plus also I'm not from the States, so I would need all the time a visa. But anyways, look, if I would have got the job, it would be a win situation. I didn't get the job, but I got so many views, it's ridiculous. It's like...
All the world.
Yeah, so it's also a promotion which I didn't expect. So it's a win-win situation. And I'm happy with the Greeks. So.
Yeah, Jay is a very strange choice, I think.
Many people say that, but I like that he has the energy.
My personal thing is that his feet have some problems. But his hands are very good.
Yeah, he's very raw drumming.
You're rock drum, yeah.
He's raw drumming. But this is what Slipknot needs, energy in the drumming, and this is what he has. With the feet, he's not really going for technique, If he would change his technique a little bit.
But now he's much better, yeah.
Yeah, he does get better. But he's not a metal drummer. I think he's more hardcore, punkish.
And maybe it's good.
Yeah, he's pushing, He's a dude who's like raw.
He's got some groove now.
Yeah, it's getting better.
He's completely different from Joey.
Completely.
Yeah. you play a lot of instruments, drums, guitars, and bass, and
Yeah.
so on. And I think that drums is your favorite one, yeah?
Yes, it's my main instrument.
And why do you play so many instruments? Because a lot of drummers don't play any instruments except drums.
I just find music very interesting in general, and I'm the guy that I say like, okay, I don't have an education on this instrument, but just give me the instrument, I will try around, and I start to build up melodies, and I have something in my head, and I try to get this out, So I
You
always
started playing drums and then other instruments.
yeah, and then I just picked up a guitar, and I was like, okay, let's try to create some own music, and I felt it's very interesting to be creative on other instruments. So as I said, I'm not trained in any of those instruments, not even with drums. It's all
yourself.
self-taught. Yes.
How many hours a day you play? You play every day, maybe not every day.
It depends. When there's stuff to learn, I try to play every day if I have a session job coming up.
But what do you play? Exercises or rudiments?
No, I play the songs. Like I try to learn the songs. If I don't have to learn anything, then I sometimes just go in the room and jam around, or I just set a tempo and I try to come up with like exercises for the feet, but it's all very loose. I'm not the guy who likes to be very strict with like single strokes, double strokes for 5 minutes. No, I try to always do it like a musical approach to that.
But when you started, maybe you played rudiments a lot.
Not even.
No?
No, I was always like, okay, I want to exercise my foot technique, so I try to let my feet play for some time, 16th notes, and then I would try to play like a solo with my hands on top of it, and then the other way around to make it more interesting.
How do you rest beyond your drumming? Some occupations?
No, I just sleep, but I do a lot of sports, which is actually not a rest, but it's important for me because it's a different movement, and my body needs that to exercise also the other muscles which are not used like for drumming, and then I feel more balanced, So I do a lot of sports, but sleep important.
Why KRIMH?
Why KRIMH?
Yeah.
There was from my first like black metal band. They all had names.
What does it mean?
Has no meaning.
No meaning.
No.
Just something like your name.
My name is Kerim, and then as I said, everybody in the band had like stage names, and then our vocalist said, "Why you don't say KRIMH?" And I was like, "Okay, why
And it
not?"
means nothing.
It means nothing.
Yeah, great.
Now it becomes a stage name.
Do you know some Russian drummers or maybe musicians? Do you know anybody?
No, I don't. Drummers. You know who I know? I know Vitas.
Vitas is not a drummer.
I know he's
but
not
maybe
a drummer.
he plays drums. Who knows?
No, he just sings very high.
How do you know him?
I have a Russian girlfriend.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So everybody knows Vitas. I don't know.
But we don't like him.
I think it's funny.
Maybe girls only.
Somehow he's a legend. I find it very funny. But the drummers, there's not much music coming from Russia over, sadly. I would wish there's more, but I actually don't know anyone. I used to know this one drummer. What was his name? He played in did he play for Slaughter to Prevail? Is this a Russian band?
Slaughter to Prevail, yeah. Novikov, Evgeny.
Yeah.
Eugene Novikov.
Was there not another guy before? Adam?
He's
Not Adam.
in Sick Drummer magazine, yeah.
Yeah, with
very fast.
This long hair. He looks like a kid.
Oh.
There was one Russian
Not
drummer
now.
who covered Despised Icon and things like that.
Mark Mironov.
This guy.
Yeah.
I remember
He's a
him.
beast.
He is.
And he toured a lot in Europe and the US. Maybe
Yes.
you encounter with
No,
him.
never, sadly.
Yeah.
But I remember we wrote each other in the email back in the days.
He's got his new band called Shrezzers. Yeah.
But did he play with Slaughter to Prevail?
No.
Okay, then I misunderstood that.
Maybe now. No.
Okay, I don't know, but this is the guy.
We'll
I
find
remember.
out. Okay. How do you satisfied with your sound? How do you understand that it's a good sound?
It really comes over time. At first you have no idea that the sound's nice, but of course taste is always depending on the person. But talking with other people and when you record a lot, this is a good exercise when you're in the studio and you have a consistent, like the audio, you hear that and you hear that it's powerful sounding, then you know you do something right. And this is how I learn a lot. By recording, listen to it, because a microphone listens different. And this is what you have to learn.
Do you tune your drums every time the same way?
I try to. I cannot do it every day the same.
What's more important, the sound or your feel of rebound?
Sound.
The sound, yeah? You have to push, but the sound is better, okay? What have you done to develop your speed? Hands and feet, very short.
Like exercises.
Some advices, yeah.
Like again, you have to push, but be careful to not over push. You know, if your body starts to get pain or like not
to fatigue your muscles, yeah.
Yeah, you know, if you go running and you've never been running and you feel the acid muscles, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean like legit health issues. Then you do something wrong. You know, you have to push yourself and you have to exercise. And I try to be having a healthy lifestyle. And of course I did my exercises, but I always try to do the exercises with a musical approach. Like I said, I would, let's say, exercise my feet. And instead of only playing kick drum, I would try also incorporate my hands to that.
And the last question.
Yes.
You wear all the way Adidas trainings.
Adidas,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Sneakers. Why? Is it convenient for you?
It just felt great to play drums with. And
it's your favorite brand?
No.
They pay
but
you?
No, they don't pay me. I don't have an endorsement.
But they have to, because every video you have Adidas.
It's always the same. Yeah. For me, this kind of, those which I wear right now, Adidas Special, for me they're, for the money and for how long they last, they're the best shoes and they felt great for drumming, those guys. And my old pair always turns into drumming shoes. So when I buy a new pair, then they're getting turned into the drumming shoes. So I have one pair for normal use and one pair, it's like an all-round shoe. And I just felt like it's really comfortable to play. They have this certain weight I want and also the grip on the pedal. And yeah, it's been years and somehow people are knowing me because of the Adidas.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
To have had you here.
Thank you very much for watching. It was really a pleasure. I hope I could answer all your questions, or a lot of them at least, and maybe we'll do that soon anytime. See you guys. The nice part, from Moscow I only have seen Kreml, that's it.
Kremlin?
Yes.
How do you like it?
It's nice, it looks like a sugar factory.
7:12, okay.